For a century, Earth had watched the stars burn. Reports came from across the void. Worlds shattered, fleets annihilated, empires erased. The Galactic War had begun as a border dispute between two ancient powers. But like a wildfire, it consumed every civilization it touched, from the shining nebulae of the core worlds to the drifting ice colonies at the rim. Species chose sides or were forced to, yet one world, blue and quiet, remained silent. Earth refused to fight. The United Earth Assembly had passed the Terran Isolation Accord after the first galactic broadcasts reached human space. The decision was simple. They had seen enough of war. Humanity had built weapons capable of ending their own species long before they learned to walk among the stars. They had chosen not to bring that fire into the heavens, so they stayed out. They turned inward, focusing on terraforming, medicine, and the arts of peace. They built vast orbital rings for research and energy, not fleets. They sent envoys and scientists, not soldiers. To the galaxy, Earth became a neutral world, a place of quiet learning and cautious curiosity. But to the warring factions, neutrality was weakness. For years, no one dared test that assumption. The few alien visitors who had landed on Earth spoke of strange humans, emotional, unpredictable, but dangerously clever. Yet myths fade when untested. When the endless war reached its 100th year, when fleets had been ground to dust and new powers rose from the ashes, someone decided to test it. It was the Thalaran Dominion that came first. They were a mechanical race born from cold logic and perfect design. Their ships moved like blades of black glass through the void. Their voices were the hum of machines older than many suns. They had one law: all who resisted their order must submit or perish. The war had drained their enemies. They needed new resources, new labor, new worlds, and Earth lay waiting at the edge of a quiet spiral arm. The Thalarans did not announce their arrival. There was no declaration, no ultimatum. On the morning of Earth's midsummer solstice, the sky above the Pacific turned red. A fleet of 1,000 black ships appeared in orbit. They blocked out the stars. The first transmission came through every channel on the planet. "We are the Thalaran Dominion. This world will be integrated. Resistance is illogical. Surrender your resources and submit to reclassification." The message ended. For a moment, silence hung over the Earth. Then came the response. From a single human voice broadcast from the old orbital defense station that had not been used in a century. "This is Earth. We are a peaceful world, but we do not surrender." That voice belonged to Admiral Hale. He was not a warrior anymore. He had retired long ago. Yet when the alarm sounded, he had been the first to climb the ancient stairs to the command deck. He looked out through the reinforced viewport at the Black Fleet, blotting out the sun, and knew what would come next. The first strike came within the hour. The Thalarans targeted communication hubs and energy grids with surgical precision. Their weapons were beams of invisible light that turned entire cities dark in seconds. The orbital stations fell first. The old human satellites built for weather and research crumbled under directed energy. The world panicked. Yet in underground bunkers and hidden vaults, humanity stirred. For while Earth had chosen peace, they had never forgotten the art of war. They had not dismantled their defenses, they had buried them. Hidden deep beneath the crust of continents, sealed behind vaults of iron and code, lay the remnants of Project Aegis, the planetary defense network designed during the Cold Age. It was built not to conquer, but to ensure that if anyone ever came for Earth, they would regret it. The Thalarans did not know of Aegis. When their drones entered Earth's lower orbit, something ancient awoke beneath the oceans. Massive doors opened under the Mariana Trench. From the black depths rose colossal machines, submersible fortresses powered by fusion cores that had slept for generations. The first volley came from the Pacific, a lance of light that pierced the heavens and shattered the lead Thalaran dreadnought. The galaxy watched in disbelief. Earth was supposed to be primitive, neutral, unarmed. Yet within hours their skies blazed with counterfire. Autonomous defense satellites came online. Cloaked drones erupted from hidden launch bays on the moon, and the orbital rings that once generated solar energy were repurposed into kinetic launch systems. Every impact was precise. Every strike was brutal. Admiral Hale's voice echoed through the command networks. They wanted to bring war to Earth. So now Earth will remind them what war truly is. The Thallarans adapted quickly. They deployed atmospheric drones and shock troopers, metallic giants that fell from orbit like burning stars. They descended on cities, crushing buildings with their weight, scanning for resistance. Yet they found not chaos but unity. Humanity fought not with fear but with purpose. Engineers became tacticians. Farmers repurposed drones into weapons. Artists used coded broadcasts to jam Thallaran communications. The world that had stayed silent for a century now roared as one. The turning point came at the Battle of Luna Orbit. The Thallarans had constructed a siege array above the moon, a weapon designed to break Earth's surface in a single blast. To stop it, humanity launched their last surviving fleet, old ships refitted from mining barges and cargo vessels. They were slow, under-armored, and outgunned, but they carried something the Thallarans could not understand: human ingenuity. Among the fleet was the Dauntless, commanded by Captain Ryan. His ship was held together by faith and duct tape, its shields barely functional. But in its cargo bay was the key, an experimental drive core capable of folding space without a beacon. A human invention dismissed by other races as impossible. Ryan ordered the fleet to draw the Thallarans away while the Dauntless made its run. Under a storm of plasma and fire, the ship dove straight into the siege array. The drive core overloaded. For a moment, space itself bent, and the entire Thallaran weapon vanished, folded into the blackness of nothing. When the light faded, the moon was safe. Across the planet, cheers erupted. For the first time, the enemy had been driven back. But Hale knew it was only the beginning. The Thallarans were not a race to retreat. They had thousands of fleets, billions of drones. They would return. Humanity needed more than courage. They needed a message. So Hale made one. He ordered every long-range array, every deep space beacon, and every surviving satellite to transmit a single signal. It was not a threat, not a declaration of war, but a warning. This is Earth, we did not seek your war. But if you bring it to us, understand this: humanity endures. You may burn our cities, darken our skies, and shatter our fleets. Yet we will rise again, sharper, stronger, and angrier than before. Leave now, or face the full weight of a species that once fought itself for centuries, and learned to win. The signal spread across the stars. To distant observers, it was madness. One world against an empire. Yet something changed in the Galactic War that day. For the first time, the Thallarans faltered. Reports spread of their fleets withdrawing from border systems. Entire sectors erupted in rebellion, inspired by the message from the blue world that refused to kneel. But the Thallarans did not retreat forever. Months later, a second invasion came. Larger, smarter. This time they came not just to conquer, but to erase. Their fleet was led by the Primarch itself, a machine mind older than recorded history. It spoke once to Hale before the battle began. Humanity is inefficient. You resist when logic dictates surrender. You destroy what you should preserve. This is your final correction. Hale looked into the hollow display and replied, "Maybe. But inefficiency built every miracle we ever made. You'll find it's also what makes us unstoppable." Then the skies opened again. The battle lasted 3 days. The Thallarans unleashed weapons that split clouds and scorched the atmosphere. Earth responded with storms of magnetized projectiles and nanite swarms that turned enemy drones against their masters. It was not strategy anymore, it was survival. When the dust settled, the orbital layer above Earth glowed red from debris. The Dauntless's sacrifice had crippled the enemy's coordination. The human resistance struck from hidden bases, hacking into Thallaran systems, using their own logic against them. On the dawn of the 4th day, the Primarch's fleet began to retreat. They had lost more ships over Earth than in any campaign in centuries. But before leaving, the Primarch sent one last message. This outcome was improbable. Humanity has redefined probability. The galaxy will adapt. And then it vanished into the void. The war ended not because Earth won outright, but because they had proven a truth the galaxy could no longer ignore. Humanity was not to be conquered. In the months that followed, emissaries came from every corner of the galaxy. Some came to offer alliances, others to ask forgiveness. They expected vengeance. Instead, they found humanity rebuilding. Cities rose again. The skies cleared. The orbital rings returned to energy collection. Children played under open sunlight while the remnants of alien machines rusted in fields of green. When asked why they had not joined the Galactic War before, Hale simply said, "Because peace is our choice, but so is survival." Years later, when historians looked back on that moment, they called it the turning of the stars, the day when the galaxy learned what Earth truly was, not a backwater, not a peaceful world to be ignored, but a sleeping giant that would not be provoked twice.